please help me welcome to the stage Rick Barton. Did I do all right? Was that good enough? Okay. So my 18 minutes is starting. CISM, a social movement. I intend to describe to you why CISM is a social movement, or compare it to others, and prove to you that it is. But I got to thinking about this. I probably don't need to tell you this because you know it. So that being the case, let me introduce the next speaker, because you already, all right? No, I'll go ahead. So this idea of CISM being a social movement, that was planted in my head at least a couple of years ago by Dr. George Everly. And I told him yesterday I stole your idea. He said, I know. And then I'll make something up, because he said, I got that idea from Dr. Wellsend. But Victor told me he got the idea from me. So let's see, me to Victor to George to me. Not true. I got the idea from George Everly. And I'm sure George would say, you know, maybe he read this somewhere else, but he has talked about this a few times, and I think he's absolutely correct, and I'm going to describe why I think he's correct, and then later he can do the analysis of why I got it all wrong, but hopefully I didn't. So I'll make that case. But first, a couple of stories. I can't, you know, I'm retired law enforcement. I can't come up here and not give you stories. So a couple. So a young officer, very new in their career, was dispatched to a marina where they had been told, the dispatch information was, someone needed assistance. Okay, you know, officer says, I'll go there and see what I can do. So officer arrives at the marina, sees a pier with some people on it, and a boat tied to that pier kind of recklessly. It's drifting a little bit. See some people milling around. Heads out onto the pier to see what they can do to help. It should have been, the dispatchers relayed what they got. It should have been a call for a disturbance, because these people on the pier were disturbed. So the officer got onto the pier, was asked a quick question, turned to look to the person who was asking a question, saw something big fly by their head, turned to see who did that, and 4 people jumped on top of this officer. It was kind of an ambush, and began kicking, beating, biting, whatever it took. Somehow this officer was able to fight off the 4 people and retreat. But as retreating, one of the people, a female, jumped on to the officer from the back and tried to gouge out their eyes, and successfully raked their fingernails across his face and hit his right eye pretty heavily. So flung her into the water, and he retreated. Help was arriving. He had enough sense before he got out of his car to say, I think maybe I need someone else with me. So help arrived. All the bad people were arrested. Emergency services came, EMTs, paramedics, to assist the officer. And when they arrived, the officer went up to them, knew that he could not see out of his right eye, felt blood coming down, said to one of them, is my eye still there? And they said, yes. You can read faces, right? There was a pretty sad look on their face. Felt he was being lied to. So, second story. An officer in the middle of their career receives a call that there's been a drowning, presumed drowning, at a lake. They respond. They ask for emergency medical support to come also. They arrive. They find that there's a large group of people, mostly a family, picnicking alongside this lake, and there's complete chaos. When they get to the scene and see what's going on, they discover there's not one, there are 3 teenage boys at the bottom of that lake. 3 drownings, triple. So these 2 people from these 2 incidents, their days, their weeks, their months are followed by what you might expect. Despair, darkness, sadness, grief, self-blame, lack of confidence, complete downward cycle. So we'll go from there. Peace, kind of an interesting word to follow those two stories, but the point of the word peace is that a single word can ignite a social movement. A single word, a word that's powerful and yet not intended to be powerful, the word peace. That word can cause people to join together to do something important. One word, one rallying cry. I'm sure Coca-Cola would like to bottle that energy in their marketing campaigns. And that is what companies try to do, is to grab something like that. And sometimes that word is a cause that people can embrace. Freedom. I mean, peace perhaps, but freedom means I'm not being treated right, I'm not being treated fairly, something's wrong, and that too is oftentimes what a social movement is about. Something's wrong and we want it righted. And so freedom becomes the cause. Sometimes it's a phrase, like the phrase of Special Olympics. Let me win. But if I can't win, let me at least give it my best. Let me be brave. A cause. But the real message there is they're not being treated fairly and haven't been. And this phrase is a rallying cry for let's have inclusion. Let's have a better world. A social movement to help people who aren't being treated properly. A single person can be the beginning of a social movement. A single person can bring out those words, those phrases that resonate. It kind of sounds familiar for people in this room and the work you do. That's why I almost walked off and said, you don't need me to talk about this. Sometimes that single person's an icon. Just their mere image represents the movement that they're leading or that they're attempting to move forward. And that icon can be a leader. It usually is. A leader that people are looking toward, that they can embrace. They can embrace the leader, the cause, the mission, the words, freedom, equality, fairness. And what that gets to is what we're talking about here, and why all the people rally around this is something's wrong, something's not right, something needs to be better, somebody's suffering, somebody's hurting. And when that gets acknowledged, then something happens, something positive. It can be a symbol. There can be a symbol that people will rally around. A symbol. Sometimes a symbol takes on a new meaning because that audience that wants that part of the world fixed says, we're embracing that symbol. I just hope no one ever latches on to the image of my face and makes that their symbol for something that now I don't own my face anymore. But imagine if you had a logo or a symbol that they steal and now that's their symbol. Oh, my goodness. But symbols, words, phrases, people, icons become the rallying cry. And so there's a common cause. Looks like a self-portrait. There's a common cause. People come together to begin building upon that common cause. And they want to have strategies and actions and things that they will do to change the world. They're not there yet, but they've got a really good plan. A plan of action. And they're beginning to get people to pay attention. Because something's wrong and they can help make it better. I don't know if lack of alcohol makes it better. They thought so. And then pretty soon a lot of people get that idea. Again, considering whatever cause it might be, peace, freedom, equality, fair treatment, Cleaning up the environment. I thought about putting Earth Day photos up here and talking about Earth Day. Same kind of thing, social movement. What I liked about it is when the first Earth Day happened, we all were allowed to skip school. But what happens when that many people get involved and like this idea, sometimes they'll go off in their own direction, whether the leader likes it or not. So the leader might be saying, as did Gandhi, peace, a peaceful approach to this, as did King, a peaceful approach to making this change. But there's other factions that say, well, we like doing it this way. We hear you, we're doing it our own way. Sometimes there's profiteers that see there's an opportunity to make money here. Aha! I can make a fortune on this because all these people think this change is needed. So I can come in and I can grab that and make money. So this passion, this unity, this need for change becomes power. Power. Let's rise up and make change whether they like it or not. And that's frightening. Because when that begins to happen, this movement that wanted peace and freedom and equality and fair treatment begins to oppress someone else, begins to cause problems and difficulties. Ouch. So social movement can be scary. There's more examples, perhaps, of scary social change than, I don't know. I want to be on the positive side. There's more positive social changes than negative. But people can embrace this and go the wrong way. Whatever it might be. Pretenders, cheaters, thieves, snake oil salesmen. I don't know. If you sell snake oil, and it's a good thing, sorry about that. But you know the expression. Somebody who is a pretender, a cheat, or seizing that power. That's not these people. But CISM and related work has a lot of similarities to what I've described. So that's my case for it being a social movement. There are phrases, there's terms, there's ideas, there's icons, there's symbols. Anybody in here wearing a logo? There's logos because it represents the movement, the interest, the concern, the need. There's passion and unity and strategies and common cause. I'm not sure about the power part, but there are pretenders. There are. There are people not doing quite the right thing and trying to make money off it. And there are leaders who are trying to go the right way and have been. We don't have a Gandhi. We don't have a Martin Luther King. But there are leaders, and a lot of them are right in this room. So while it's not per se multiple populations that we're grabbing in this work, there's multiple professions, and I'll leave somebody out, and you can raise your hand and holler one out if you want to. Police, fire, paramedics, EMTs, dispatchers, military, airline, athletic trainers. Who am I leaving out? Yes, teachers. Who else? Keep going. Yes. Anybody, right? Anybody. You're exposed to horrible incidents, that's everybody. But all of these professions as well. And every day I'm hearing about a new one, tow truck drivers. Look what they deal with. So it's kind of a family, which a social movement can be, a big family. A family that's joining arms, embracing this, looking for positive change because there's something wrong. That's where social movement starts. There's something wrong. In the military, and not just the military, but when people are asked, why did you charge up that hill when you knew they were shooting at you? Why did you go on that beach when you knew everybody ahead of you was being shot? Because my buddy next to me was going and I wasn't going to let him down. So why'd you go in that burning building? Because my buddy's going in and I'm helping him. right? Why'd you go out on that pier when 4 people are beating the hell out of somebody? Because that's my partner out there. And if I get beat up, I'll take it. And CISM is like that. So welcome to the club. And one of the scary parts is that people do think of themselves in this work as superheroes, and that's scary. Causes some of the problems. Welcome to the club. Join in with a social movement. We're getting younger. It's not all old people doing this. There's a lot of young people on board. It's gaining momentum. It's growing. It's getting better. We're moving positively, with passion, and without the dangers of power. So that young officer who discovered the triple drowning, well, their agency created a CISM team as a result of that incident. And that young officer, dealing with all the demons of past incidents, turned it around and went on to a successful career and ultimately retired happy and A1. And as for that officer who lost their eye, they saved my eye. It was me. They saved it. They stitched it back together. Perfect vision. You can't see the scar. Thank you. What came of that was, later on, 10 years later when I became the boss, we created a CISM team, and the CISM team saved that officer at the lake. CISM, people like Jeff Mitchell, George Everly, Victor Wellsant, Don Howell, others, George Grimm, they were involved in setting up that team. And if anybody wonders why I'm here, it's because of that. Payback time. Payback time. We can't change what happened. We can affect what happens. We can change what comes next. And that's why you're here, I'm guessing. Right? Change what's next. Make it better. Pay it forward, all those nice cliches, but those words are what social movement's about. And as for the future, and where it's going, and where the social movement goes next, again, I'm assuming it is one. I'm saying it is one. George Everly told me it is one. I believe him. Where it goes next, that is up to you. I'll let you answer that. You tell me where this goes next. And I'll help you get there. I'm not leading it. You are.